Happy New Year and welcome to PACTV Community News. Tonight begins our new year of programming, a year that we will be presenting new features and new segments.
Tonight, PACTV Community News brings you a gate dedication ceremony at Plymouth Municipal Airport.
The Commission felt it was most appropriate to find a reasonable way to sort of dedicate something for the future to understand what the airport is and where it came from.
We'll meet a loving and caring family from Kingston who has turned a family illness into a powerful, supportive organization.
Jet would quickly die if I didn't get active. And I really thought that I could do the best job if I used his name and his face and put that forward first.
This month, we get ready to say goodbye to one of our town managers.
He will be remembered as well for his fairness, his sense of humor, his accessibility.
Tonight begins a new segment about cultures and lifestyles in our communities, and we begin in Pembroke with a quiet, peaceful group of people.
We basically lost our home. The town of Pembroke and the Historical Society basically opened their arms and said, well, you know, we have this other place down here that's heated.
Our Town Talk segment comes from Pembroke, and we bring you some winter safety tips for the ice.
It's all coming up on PACTV Community News. Local aviation pioneers were honored at the Plymouth Airport last month. Each of the 4 entrance gates were named in honor of local residents who played an important role in establishing the Plymouth Municipal Airport in 1934 and continued to nurture its development. The event was attended by local dignitaries who recognized the vision of these local aviation pioneers. PACTV Community News was there to bring you this story.
In regards to this dedication of 4 unique individuals that have made a huge difference in the town of Plymouth. And, you know, it's Mr. Petrell, Mr. Barafoldi, and specifically for 2 people that I've had the pleasure of working with, Chet Motika and Mr. Walter Morrison. These 2 individuals, for me specifically, since I've been in office, I've seen them advocating on behalf of this airport. And what I find so unique about these 2 people is that they care so much about this airport, and they're Plymouthians, and they've made sure that the growth that we've had in this airport has been a growth that has been respectful of the community, that has grown in a reasonable fashion, that it has clearly made a huge difference in our tax base, but it has respected our citizens as they understand the challenges that an airport would face in a community. And so having these people as advocates who have understood the town of Plymouth and what this airport means to us, but also the challenges that would come with it, they've always done it with respect. And I appreciate these 2 individuals. I've had a good and close working relationship with both of them, and I'm just honored to be here for us to take this opportunity on this this great occasion to honor these 4 individuals, and specifically the 2 that I mentioned that I've had the privilege of working with.
The Plymouth Airport Commission has been working on this particular project of trying to dedicate some of the important aspects of the airport to some of the pioneers that helped develop the airport over the many years. It's a process that took approximately 1 year to orchestrate, and a committee of the Airport Commission came up with a list of people that they felt were instrumental in the development of the Plymouth Municipal Airport. And those people included Al Barafaldi, who was the first airport manager, John Petrell, who was instrumental in getting the town of Plymouth to acquire the airport from the U.S. Navy, Chet Motika, who was the first commercial operator on the airport and operated here for more than 50 years. And then Walter Morrison, who was airport commissioner and chairman. He was commissioner for over 36 years, still is an airport commissioner. And Walter saw the airport go through its major changes through the 70s, 80s, and 90s and such. So the commission felt it was most appropriate to find a reasonable way to sort of dedicate something for the future to understand what the airport is and where it came from, etc.
No, this is a very important day for my father, Chet Motika, and the fact that the gate is named with just the last name, because it also mentions the fact that my mother, who really behind the scenes helped him run the business so efficiently. Unfortunately, we lost her last year to Alzheimer's, but she was a very important part of the success of New England Aero Service, and she is part of this too, and she's here with us in spirit as well. But I'm very happy for my father, and it's a great day, and he truly was and still is a pioneer of this airport.
A Kingston family's love and care produced decisive results. When Christine and Stephen McSherry learned that their 5-year-old son, Jet, had Duchenne muscular dystrophy, or DMD, the most common and a life-shortening childhood genetic disorder in the world, they were devastated. There is currently no cure for DMD, and most victims are confined to a wheelchair by the time they're 12. The McSherrys and their 4 other children pulled their emotions together and started the Jet Foundation that works to support the search for treatment and a cure for DMD and helps other affected families cope with this condition. PACTV Community News went to meet Christine McSherry and learn more about her story.
When Jet was diagnosed in 2001, I was devastated to find out that there was not a treatment or a cure to give him. There wasn't a pill, there wasn't a liquid, there wasn't an IV that I could start, there was nothing that I could do. His muscles were going to deteriorate, and at that time the doctors told me that he would probably live to the age of 15 and 19 if I was lucky. It was really a hard diagnosis to take because at that moment Jet was 5 years old and he was jumping on and off the table, he was running around, he had the use of all of his muscles. So the diagnosis really hit me like a train. I had no idea that it was coming. Jet didn't really show any symptoms prior to his diagnosis. The only thing he did was when he went to the pediatrician's office for his 5-year checkup, the doctor asked him to get down on the floor, and when Jet stood back up, he put his hand on his knee and he pushed his torso up. And that gave rise to the doctor that there was something going on with Jet's muscles. I took him into Boston and they drew his blood. And they called me shortly thereafter and said that his CPK level was in the 22,000 range. And I said, that's impossible. You can't have a CPK in the 22,000 range. And as a nurse, I thought I knew it all. When you have a heart attack, the highest your CPK will go up is 250 or 270. So to be in the 22,000 range, I said, that's going to be a misread. Something happened. Something's wrong. It was a mistake. Well, the doctor on the other end of the phone said, it's not a mistake. That would be fine if only his heart was dying, but every muscle in his body's dying. So I quickly learned that Duchenne is a progressive muscle disorder, typically diagnosed between the ages of 3 and 6 years old. Boys usually stop walking around the age of 12. The progression starts in their torso and then goes out to their limbs. So they typically succumb to the disease before the age of 19 because their heart and their lungs will fail, as well as their diaphragm. There's 20,000 boys in the U.S. right now with Duchenne, and in the immediate South Shore, New England area, we have about 300 to 500. So it's much more prevalent than people think. It is diagnosed typically only in boys, although there is a 1% chance that a girl can also have Duchenne. And it's 1 in 3,500 male births. So as a nurse and as a mom, I needed something to do to try to change the outcome. Jet would quickly die if I didn't get active. And I really thought that I could do the best job if I used his name and his face and put that forward first, versus going with another larger organization. So I created the Jet Foundation. And at that time, at that moment, I really just wanted to fund research and find a way, a drug, a compound, a pill, an IV, something that I could give him to help save his life. Over the last 12 years, it's quickly grown into an organization that fulfills the unmet needs of the entire community, not just JET in research. As JET grew, I realized that this population of boys has been underserved for a long time, and they didn't have a voice. Nobody was really speaking out for them. So in the development of JET Foundation, we've now created programs. We have camps for kids with Duchenne and young men with Duchenne. We provide transitional programming and try to teach young men how to go to college or go to high school, or what tools do they need to learn or utilize so that they can be part of society. We do also fund research, and we created something called the Duchenne Alliance and co-created something called the Duchenne Dashboard, in which different organizations around the world can fund research quickly. We also support and fund several clinics in the country, most importantly one here at Mass General Hospital in Boston, where we provide the clinic provides a collaborative care approach to boys and other children with neuromuscular diseases, which is a great way to extend the lives of these kids. So here in the Boston area, generally young men live to be in their 20s and 30s who have Duchenne, because our care is so good. Another big part of what we do is advocacy and awareness. So our education piece and our outreach piece is really big. So we're involved in road races and triathlons, golf events, just about any event that you can think of, we're a part of on the South Shore.
Duxbury says goodbye to its town manager this month. Richard McDonald began as the town's building inspector before becoming town manager. During his tenure in Duxbury, Mr. McDonald feels he has accomplished a great deal, including improvements to the town's buildings, creation of new and more efficient management teams, and fostering better relationships with town employees. PACTV Community News spoke with some town folk to hear what they had to say about their retiring town manager.
Well, I've been working with Richard for as long as Richard has been town manager, because I've been on the Finance Committee and the Fiscal Advisory Committee. And what I found is that he's done a great job with managing the finances of the town and building a wonderful management team that has been very loyal to the town, very loyal to him. And, I particularly point to the Public Works Department, where they have volunteered and done a tremendous amount of overtime work in the town on a voluntary basis, and I write a lot of that off to Richard being a good manager and keeping the staff very happy in what they were doing. So he will be missed, and we hope that we can fill his shoes with somebody just as talented and who works just as hard for the town.
Since election to the board a year and a half ago, I have had the opportunity to work closely with Richard McDonald on any number of issues. I've always found him to be a very professional person. He is a great manager. He has put us on a really good fiscal course. We're in great shape. We're probably in the best shape of any town in the Commonwealth. And I credit that in large part to his style, his management style. We one-time revenues, we do not spend. We use them for one-time expenses, and it's kind of a key that he's followed very closely, and I think it's done us well. We will miss him.
I'm Jeannie Horn, the Director of Human Resources for the town of Duxbury, and I am making a few comments as they relate to Richard McDonald, our current town manager. I'm speaking as a resident and as an employee and as a member of the management team. It has been a pleasure working with Richard McDonald. I think some of the things that he will be remembered for in this role include creating a professional management team, including a specialist in finance, human resources, and procurement. I think that's moved the town forward in a very positive direction. He will be remembered as well for his fairness, his sense of humor, his accessibility, the time that he's spent with residents and employees, his ability to really embrace and help corral the many dedicated volunteers and talented volunteers that the town has, and really partner with them and with the employees of the town to bring us to a place where we can be considered a world-class community. He's been a major contributor in the development of our new fire station, the school plan, the new police station, the crematorium, many CPC projects, the restoration of the Blue Fish River Firehouse. He is a wonderful leader and a pleasure to work with.
I've known Richard since he came to town as in the Inspectional Services Department, was our building inspector, was also on the Town Manager Search Committee that ultimately recommended Richard to the job that he currently holds. I'm glad that the selectmen voted him in as Town Manager. I think over the years he's demonstrated his superior leadership in terms of being a people person, in terms of building a team around him that has helped make Duxbury what Duxbury is today in terms of its administrative management. He's done a great job. He's put us financially in a very, very good position. And he's going to be sadly missed, and it's going to be very, very difficult to replace him.
PACTV Community News will be looking into different cultures and lifestyles within our communities. You may or may not know about these residents, and we wanted to bring awareness to the many different kinds of people who make up our towns. Tonight, we take our first look into the Quaker community in Pembroke. The Quaker religion began in England and came to New England in the 1600s. Quakers believe in seeking their inner light to be close to God, and it's done in everyday activities. Quakers came to Pembroke in 1706 and built a meeting house. PACTV Community News met up with local Quakers at a meeting to learn more about them and their life.
The official name for Quakers is the Society of Friends, but that's a lot to say, so everyone calls us Quakers. It's been, shortened down to Quakers for hundreds of years. The Puritans came to this country to practice their religion. They wanted the freedom to practice their religion. They came to the New World. When the Quakers came, the Puritans sort of said, "We don't like you. Go away." Quakers were hung on the Boston Common. They tarred and feathered them and rode them out of town on a rail, and because they felt threatened. They ended up coming down here onto the South Shore and down into Rhode Island, and they ended up going up into New Hampshire and up on the North Coast, the North Shore, and there were quite a few very large Quaker communities. The building is basically split into 4 sections. The 2 upstairs balconies were for the children. Generally, the girls would be on one side, the boys would be on the other. The Quakers would meet as a group, but generally the women would sit on one side and the men would sit on the other. Quakers believed in equality, so that it wasn't a matter of separating men and women. What they wanted to be able to do was, during meeting for business, when the Quakers would sit and discuss business related items, the men had their business that they did, and the women had business that they did. And so they would then be able to bring down these petitions and close off the 2 sides. Very, very early meetings, having people who were in charge of keeping members awake. And so you would get a little flick with a branch, or what do they call it, a switch, to wake you up if you were snoring. We don't do that anymore. We just let you snore. Now, we had already been coming down here and having meeting here for July and August every year. And when we basically lost our home, the town of Pembroke and the Historical Society basically opened their arms and said, well, we have this other place down here that's heated, and it's the I think it's the Universalist Chapel that they've just renovated, and so we've basically moved our meeting to Pembroke again, and so now we're here year-round. And this year we had meeting in here June through September. It's nice because we're located in one area in one town, and it feels good. It's just comfortable.
Winter brings many fun outdoor activities, including sledding and ice skating. Since our towns are filled with ponds and lakes, they afford many ice skating opportunities, but there are also safety concerns when it comes to outdoor ice skating. PACTV Community News met with local officials to learn how to have a safe ice skating season.
Anybody who goes out on the ice and thinks that they're not taking a risk is fooling themselves, because you're always at risk on ice if it's natural ice. You can take steps to protect yourself, knowing the thickness of the ice, the composition of the ice, the location, whether or not there's even a difference of 4 people standing in a tight circle or being out by yourself. It varies, but there's always risk on ice. People who are ice fishermen are some of the safest people you watch on the ice, because one of the advantages they have over a recreational skater would be is they will test as they go. They might start at the shore, go out a little bit from the shore, open up a hole, look at the composition of the ice and the thickness of the ice before they go any further out onto a lake. The best thing we can do is be notified. We would much rather get to the location and find somebody cold and wet who got out than to have people effect a rescue unsuccessfully for 15 minutes, and by the time you get there now you may have multiple people in the water. So 911 notification and the location of the incident is absolutely critical, so that we know exactly where we're going, so that we're not wasting time and maybe driving. One of the things that's pretty reliable is like a long pole. We use pike poles that we use in fire operations. Just a long pole with a hook on it, displacing your weight. This is one of the things that we could use just very quickly if somebody was close to shore. The second part of any ice rescue for us would be to go to the next one, would be to a throw bag. And this is simply a rope. It's got some weight at the bottom, and you just take it, and you're allows you to just take it and throw it towards your victim, 25-foot bag or a 50-foot bag, and give them something to be able to hold on to. This one here is a Rescue Alive sled, which is basically a variation of a lot of rescue devices, and this is a really very reliable, simple system. And it works on displacement theory. It displaces the rescuer's weight over a big area, which is why when people are on ice, we're always laying down, opening our legs, trying to displace our weight. But it also has flotation and stability. So displacement, flotation, and stability. Over to my left here we have a hovercraft, a SCAT. I'm sure people have seen these in military applications, recreational applications. And really this does not float as much as it flies. It hovers on a cushion of air above the water and above the ice. And because of that, it can go almost anywhere. It can go over solid land, it can go over marshy area, it can go over open water, and it can go over very thin ice. And once we get this out to a victim, it makes a solid, stable platform to try to extricate them or to put other rescuers into the water to assist them before we remove them. This is tested every day when we come on shift. We make sure that it's got fuel, it runs, that it fires off easily, that it's reliable. We will come out and try to work with pet and animal owners to get pets out of the water. The reason for that is we know that, for one, we love animals. We're not going to try and let them drown, but we know that people are going to follow. And it's better for us to go out after the animal and try to get the animal out of the water than to allow lay people to try to affect it. Because then what happens is we have the issue of the animal in the water and now the animal owner in the water. And if you really are going to condemn your animal, then when you go into the water, you face the rescuers with the dilemma, now who do I save first? Do I save the animal or the animal owner? Well, you know what's going to happen. We have to spend time getting the animal owner out of the water and then go after the animal. So really, as a pet owner, the natural instinct will be to try to go after your pet, when the right instinct would be to call 911 and to make sure that we're there and we come out and we try to effect that. Because the last thing we want is people to go out and try to effect a rescue. When we do find animals in the water, we use a simple snare system, which is basically a looped cord around a handle. And what it allows us to do, because animals are scared, they run the risk of biting. So what we're able to do is if we get it around an animal's leg or appendage, we can just snug it up and that allows us to gain access to the animal till we pull. I will tell you that a lot of the animals that we've pulled out that have been in the water for the long time, they become very friendly when you stabilize them. They kind of understand, even though you would think that they're snapping or biting at you, they kind of understand really quick that we're there to help them, and are pretty passive when we get them out of the water.
Greetings and happy holidays to everybody in Pembroke. This is Ed Thorne, Town Administrator, and today we're going to talk about our upcoming events in January. Almost every year, January starts off the budget process for the next fiscal year. As per the Town Administrator bylaw, I'm required to present an overall town budget to the Advisory Committee and the Board of Selectmen at the end of January to beginning of February. We try to do it at the end of January to give advisory and all the departments enough time to get ready to prepare their budgets for the upcoming town meeting that occurs at the end of April every year. One of the exciting things that we have coming up is that we're going to be ordering the new docks for the town landing and Little Sandy beaches. We all know that the docks have been in disrepair for the last couple of years. We managed to get one more year and one more summer out of them, and so we're going to be really excited about ordering the new ones. We're not only going to have new docks for the swim programs, but we're also going to have a new dock for boaters on Oldham Pond. So, you know, town meeting in November appropriated that, and so we're real excited about you know, putting those in the water in June. Also, you know, we're still continuing to work on the community center project. I believe the committee has a plan for maybe making a presentation at the annual town meeting in April, but I believe that they have pushed out whatever final decision they're going to, or recommendation they're going to make to the town, maybe for the following fall. In addition, some of the projects that were funded at the special town meeting, including such things as police cruisers and equipment for the Public Works Department, we'll be looking at ordering this winter and you know, having them in place probably within a couple of months. So we're real excited about that. Also, a project that we've been working on for about 2 years, which is a truck exclusion to prohibit trucks from being in North Pembroke. We've been working with the towns of Duxbury and Marshfield, and we're hoping that Marshfield signs off on it, because we're going to need both towns' permission to ban heavy trucks from those roads. So other than that, you know, it's been a quiet December, and we're looking forward to an exciting 2013 for the town, and we're wishing all you folks a happy new year and an exciting 2013 for the town of Pembroke.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's edition of PACTV Community News. We are looking for story ideas about local people who make a difference, new business ventures, and local events. Please email your thoughts and ideas to me, Kim, at pactv.org, or fill out a story submission form available online at pactv.org.
PACTV Community News is now available for streaming on YouTube or on the PCN page at pactv.org. You can view the entire program or each story individually. Also, be sure to like PCN on Facebook to receive weekly previews or to see each week's edition.
Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week on PACTV Community News.